everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
You are Frank.
Yay!
Welcome back. And I'm Dan.
Yeah, and you are Dan.
I'm Dan.
Yeah.
And have been ever since I can remember.
Oh, that's nice. Well, coming up today on the show, we're going to be talking about...
Prezzies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Lots of fun little presents.
Christmas presents.
We're going to be talking about the best part of Christmas, which is presents.
Yeah, getting what you not only want but deserve.
Yes,
this holiday
indeed.
season.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
We'll be having some fun with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome back to you.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's great to be back. A little break there.
Yeah, thanks to Mark for
working on the film. Yeah, thanks, Mark.
for filling in on that one.
Fantastic. Well, Dan, do you know what today is?
What's today?
Well, while we are recording,
Yeah.
it is Black Friday.
Yes.
And I've got some Black Friday news for you.
Oh.
Actually, it's not really news as such. It's about the states. Well, it's a list of states that have the most fights on Black Friday. Would you like to guess where or which state is the number one state on this list? The most fights breaking out
On Black Friday?
at a retailer on Black Friday.
Well, I'm going to go with a combination of population and propensity and perceived propensity in my
Right.
mind.
Okay.
And I'm going to launch in with Texas.
Nope. I guess these are states where people are most likely to get into fights.
Oh, okay. So it's not the most fights; it's the most likely.
Yes,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
So
then I
kind
have to
of-
recalibrate a little bit.
Sorry, I did mislead you there.
I'll go with Alabama.
It's actually Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
And then that's followed.
Are those different? Are those different states?
That's followed by Tennessee and then Alabama.
Okay.
Missouri is the fifth. Oh, this is from a Missouri news source.
Yes. Okay.
Which is why they care about Missouri. Yeah.
Way to
So, I mean, it's bound to happen. There's great deals out there, folks.
I'm telling you, I feel like it's kind of like this sort of rich man's Hunger Games thing that they do every year. I feel like, because they obviously don't have to set it up like this, but I feel like they set it up so that they can watch the poor people fight amongst themselves.
Yeah, so representing
Right.
Arkansas.
Arkansas District 6 is send in the television deals.
Yeah.
And then they purposefully make sure that their stupidest employees are working in that moment. And
Oh yeah. No, it's ugly. I've never done Black Friday. I have to admit to that. I've done Cyber Monday.
Oh yeah.
I've totally participated in Cyber Monday.
Oh, it's all
never
about
done
the
Black
online
Friday.
deals. It's all about the online deals.
Well-
But why the hell would you go into a store?
No.
But I think people like it. I think there's the rush of being with the crowd
An
and
energy in the air.
trying to get the deal before the other people get it and whatever.
See who you can wrestle that Xbox away from.
Yeah, hopefully it's a kid because they're the easiest to get it away from.
Yeah.
They're little and they're not as strong. Lord help you though if it's there's. I mean, there's some. First of all, if you're a man and a woman's got the thing, she'll start hitting you. You can't hit her back. There's a whole inequality there.
Oh, well, I don't know. It is Black Friday. There are no rules.
There are no rules.
There are no rules
for Black Friday. Dun dun dun.
Oh, I absolutely love it. There really is nothing more to the story than that.
That's fine.
I have to say.
That's fine. We all know everybody's going to get.
Now, I will say that there was a map that actually was with this story, but when I printed it, I didn't notice that the map didn't come.
Oh.
There were more states to talk about, and the thing that they are clustered, not too surprisingly, throughout the
South.
The South.
Yeah. That's kind of where that happens.
Yeah.
I will say this: for this show and listeners, this is the depths that I will go to for you in producing this show. I was today on FoxNews.com, and of course they had a whole section of Black Friday punch-ups and video because they're just scouring for that stuff. They're very into it.
Well, it seems like if one of the networks was smart, they would pick up on your idea basically and do like a Black Friday like supermarket sweep combo special.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where like all day people could come on and fight it out for the last
right. Right. You
PS4
hide the best deals somewhere in the store, and then you let 4,000 people in, and you just whatever happens, you just videotape it.
You're taking it to a much darker place than I was going. I wanted it just to be a nice little competition. For
then
the
you
last
have
item.
missed this. There is a spirit of this day, Frank, and this is what it's about.
You mean the start of the gift giving season?
No, that's not what I mean at all. You think people on Black Friday are buying gifts? They are not buying gifts. They are buying TVs for their home. They are buying gifts for themselves. Anyway, there you go.
Absolutely love it. I'm going to have to participate in Black Friday sooner or later.
Yeah.
Seems like it's almost required. I don't do anything really for the holidays. I don't care.
Where would you go?
I live 1,000 miles from the nearest, family member.
Right. I think it's got to be Walmart.
You would
right?
have to go to Walmart.
It's got to be Walmart.
Yeah, you don't go to some place that's going to class it up.
No.
Like a Target.
Yeah, you can't go classy like Target. Got to get a little gritty. All right. I'm going to move on to New Delhi, India.
Okay.
Well, actually, this isn't. This doesn't take place in New Delhi, but that's where it's being reported from. There's a temple in Kerala, which is in the south of India, nowhere near New Delhi, called the Sabrimala Temple. In Sabrimala is apparently like a whole pilgrimage center that people go to, and it's a Hindu holy site.
Okay.
Apparently, women aren't allowed there
into the city,
into the temple.
Oh, okay.
And so there was a new chief guy, a new head person of the temple, and somebody asked him if women would ever be allowed into the temple.
Oh no.
And his response was to say that if someone ever invented a machine that could detect when a woman was on her period, then yes, we would consider it.
Okay.
But as long as there's that possibility that they are unclean.
So is this a story about somebody making that machine?
No. I think he feels safe. He can rest comfortably in the knowledge that nobody's going to make that machine. This has sparked outrage in India, which is an interesting thing has happened. They've launched the hashtag Happy to Bleed, and it's a nice, apparently a new feminist marching cry.
Fantastic.
I think so. Yeah. It's all over the Facebooks and the Instagrams and whatnot.
Snapchat?
No, they don't have that there. That's not.
Oh, no?
That hasn't reached there yet.
All right. I enjoy Snapchat.
Do you?
In a weird way.
I don't even know what it is anymore. Like, it used to be this thing where you take a picture
junk,
and then it disappears.
Right.
And now it's now it's just Twitter.
Now it's teenagers get on it and you post pictures. You can send pictures and whatnot directly to people if you want.
Right.
Or you put them on your story, and then people can come along and see what you've been up to for the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then the pictures go away.
Oh, my God.
And it's taken me a while to really wrap my head around it. Because I don't like it, in theory.
No.
Like, I have some problems with it.
It's terrible.
But
you young people are stupid, and this is awful.
Yeah, but some of the young people that I know, they really like it. And I've been trying to figure out what they like about it.
Yeah.
Because I get what people like about Facebook. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I get what people like about Twitter. Also something that I don't really enjoy that much.
Right.
I want to at least understand what these things are.
Where the people are coming from.
Even if I don't like it.
Sure.
So that I can understand it on some level. But, yeah, Snapchat. So not on Snapchat. They're not posting to their story?
I don't know if they're posting on Snapchat, but I will say this. It is interesting. I had to go through sort of the comments section on this article. This is an article from the Times of India. And I went through the comment section, and first of all, I mean, like, the English is different, the way that the commenters write, so
Sure.
I was sort of sorting through that, but it's interesting. Like, people are... They're talking in the same ways that, like, Christians here or Mormons, for us, talk about, like, something where you got one side of the group is talking about how this is a stupid policy and it's gross and why do people care, and another side that's like, this is just how it's always been and it's correct, and then why would you object to this, and blah blah blah. He's just saying what's true. It's very interesting. I had no idea that Hindus would have an issue with menstruating women, but apparently that's something that's not just in the Bible. That's all over the place. I guess when men
it's something that they have in common.
Indeed. The religions are so... I mean, it's no coincidence, I think. I think there's something divine about all the religions.
It would seem like it. Well, they all have some of the truth, as the Mormons would say.
And the divine thing about all of them is that they don't like yucky periods. That's the most universal thing. I think this is what happens when you let men write all of the religious books.
Yeah.
You just get a bunch of people, a bunch of stuff. Eventually, it's all going to go like, ew. We don't like it when you guys have menstruations.
Right.
That's gross. You're unclean. It's very distasteful. So anyway, I was just glad to see that there's a strong feminist movement happening in India.
That's great.
I love that.
Good.
Anyway, there you go.
Well done.
Yeah, good job, India. And also bad job for the other guys.
Also, India, bad. All right, Dan.
Yeah?
Here's a story. It's a sad story.
Oh, dear.
That turns out okay.
Oh,
There's
good.
still something very sad about it. But more than anything about this story isn't so much that it happened, but sort of the response to the fact that it happened and how people were responding. So I'll just get what happened out of the way.
Okay.
There was a newborn found in a church nativity scene where the baby Jesus would be.
Yeah, you're supposed to have one of those in there.
Yeah, but this is like
This is just a baby that was left.
well, it's like right? A baby was left there
Oh dear.
and
Unsupervised.
Gross. And a custodian found the crying infant that was wrapped in towels. Still had the umbilical.
Oh my God.
This was a brand new newborn.
Okay.
When I said newborn, I meant newborn.
Right. Like that day.
That hour.
That hour, yeah.
Probably, right? And so the custodian of the church found the infant, and they call the paramedics, blah blah blah. Father Christopher Ryan Hinu, one of the priests at the church, said that they initially, picked up the baby, put a clean towel around him, and then says this to the press. The beautiful thing
Oh no.
is that this woman found in this church, which is supposed to be a home for those in need, this home for her child.
Oh dear.
The beautiful thing. And then he goes on. He talks about how there will be a young couple in our parish would love to adopt this child and keep this gift in our community.
Keep the gift.
Right. Not acknowledging how sad it is that a woman, most likely a young woman, felt that she had no other alternative
Than to just abandon, probably give birth to this baby alone.
without any medical
Right.
support.
Right.
Probably people in her life didn't even know that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
So she's hiding the pregnancy.
She's been hiding the pregnancy, and then she gives birth on her own by herself with this horrible guilt and all of these negative feelings.
and then delivers it into a church very sweetly. I mean, you have to like place yourself in this young girl's shoes.
Yeah.
She puts the baby in the manger. There is something very innocent and very sweet about that,
and very
very
stupid.
sad. Well,
that's just a long way to kill a baby.
No, I know, but I'm trying to like.
Yeah, I mean, there is something poetic. I don't know. Or maybe she's just. I mean, it's clearly she had a story that she associated with this thing, and she was just like, well, I'm just gonna. I mean, it just felt safe, probably.
Yeah.
Because of Jesus.
And so
it's interesting.
But nonetheless, so she leaves the child there. And the way that I felt, excuse me, there seemed to be this almost miracle response from all the adults in this story, who were like, isn't it amazing? It's just so
isn't it beautiful.
It's just so sad.
Yeah.
It's just so pathetically sad. And the one thing I do have to say is at least this girl, this isn't one of those, where the baby was left in a dumpster type things.
Yeah.
Like she did go to a place where she probably figured people would be around and they would hear the baby crying. Right.
Yeah.
But that she could get out and leave the baby, so forth and so on. So at least there was some care.
Yeah.
But there was also so much shame.
Yeah.
And fear.
Yeah, I hate that.
In her pregnancy. And it's so pathetically sad to me.
I mean, we're making a lot of assumptions on this one, but
a woman abandoned her baby.
Yeah, that tends to be the story. I don't know. I feel like you missed an opportunity, by the way, on this story, because you said you could have started with, and lo, the janitor went unto them and found a babe, wrapped in swaddling clothes,
swaddling towels,
and lying in the front of the church.
Indeed, and I'm sure it was also a virgin birth.
It was. Yeah. Those happen for sure.
Of course.
For all we know, everyone around her might think she's a virgin. Except
probably the case.
Except a guy.
Yeah. There's at least one person. There's at least one person.
There's at least one guy who knows.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I'm going to move on to Boston, Massachusetts, a home of a announced and then abandoned experiment.
Oh.
That would have helped so many had they gone through with this. This is a story of a tragedy that occurred.
Oh no.
Because so many people could have been helped if this had gone through. A Mormon LDS stake. A stake, for those of you who don't know Mormonism, is a grouping, is a sort of diocese, a small grouping,
collection of congregations.
This Boston stake was going to shorten their Sunday meeting services.
Oh. You're kidding me.
As an experiment in Mormonism.
Going rogue.
They were going to go a little bit rogue. Now, Mormon Sunday services, for those of you who don't know, are awful, and they're 3 fucking hours long. You're there for 3 goddamn hours of torture every week. And you're expected to go to all of it, pretty much.
They take attendance.
Yeah. So like there's 2 series of like classroom type things, and then there's the big sacrament meeting, which is like sort of mass, only boring
and no pomp,
only worse,
no circumstance.
Oh God, it's literally like they're trying to bore you to death,
right?
But it's okay because they make up for it by having screaming babies all throughout, scattered in the congregation. Because
there's no like call and response. There's just crying.
There's just bored people and crying people because they're so bored.
Yeah, my posture in sacrament meeting was always bent forward with my head on the bench in front of me.
Yeah,
you know the one, right?
Oh yeah,
that's basically what half the teenagers were all doing.
Yeah.
Just,
oh no,
make it stop.
Yeah. John DeLynn He's a former Mormon because he got his butt kicked out last year, or this year, or whatever. He reported that this LDS stake was going to change their services starting in this coming January. They were going to change it from the 3 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes.
How are they going to do that?
They're going to do 45 minutes per meeting. Sacrament meeting was going to be last. Elimination of all but essential Sunday meetings. No firesides, choir rehearsals, all of that sort of thing.
Great.
Yeah, they were going to try all this stuff. Well, it turns out that the bigwigs of the church, because this is a centralized church where there's somebody at the top, said, that's not how we do it.
Oh, God.
And
sounds like such a good idea.
These plans have been abandoned.
Because that would leave, probably 20, 25 minutes for the talks.
Yeah.
And that's it. During sacrament meeting.
Oh,
That'd be amazing.
You guys don't even know how bad this is. It's not, there's no paid pastor to guide you through this nonsense. There's nobody who's gone to theological school to learn how to give a decent sermon. This is Joe. Literally, this is your neighbor, brother so and so, other than church has never given a talk to anybody in his life. Yeah. Hates that he has to do it at church, but he knows he has to do it, so he just summons up the courage and reads you bullshit
from the inside
and just drones for 20 minutes or so. And it's painful. It's so bad. When someone actually is a decent public speaker, that's when you start to hear the hallelujah chorus somewhere in the background, and you want to feel the spirit. Have someone speak in an interesting fashion at Mormon church after you've had to sit through 3 years of boring. You will praise Jesus that day. I tell you what.
So they got shut down. That's way too bad. They were about to that was going to be a serious breakthrough.
Yeah,
they were going to see a serious increase in their numbers,
a minor uptick.
Yeah. Their less active folk would be coming back. They'd be like, "Wow, this isn't so bad anymore."
Right. Well, they weren't going far enough, but
the missionaries bringing through the investigators.
Yeah, they would have been.
The investigators
happy.
would be like, this thing just clips along.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a lean 2 hours and 15 minutes. All right.
Oh, my God.
That's not what I'm moving on to. I was about to start thanking people on Patreon.
Well, don't do that.
We'll do that eventually.
We will.
But that's what I was prepping. Oh, good. There's the last one. I was wondering if now I know where the cutoff point is.
Okay.
All right.
Should we...
so I have a story.
Should we pause that?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So I have a story, Dan.
Okay.
About... Southern Utah town.
Okay.
Border town.
If it's the one I'm thinking of.
It's the one that's always referred to as the border town.
The border town.
There's a polygamist town on the border of Utah and Arizona. It's Hilldale and...
Hilldale in Utah. And Colorado City
in Arizona. And this is where the FLDS folk reside. The Warren Jeffs folks.
Right.
Well, they're going to be getting a public library. They have not had one.
Oh, good.
Because Warren Jeffs saw no need in one. There used to be one.
Yeah.
And it was so heavily ignored.
And it was probably like you weren't allowed to go there.
Well, they weren't allowed to go there, and that's the only people there.
Right.
So they shut down the library on the Arizona side.
Okay.
Leaving the entire community without a public library. Well, the Utah side has decided that they are going to put in a public library. The Washington County Library System is planning to open a library in March.
Wow.
2016. And this is good news for these folks because Warren Jeffs no longer has the stranglehold that he used to.
Because he's in jail.
And the community isn't quite as...
locked down?
Yeah. there seems to be a little bit of people can kind of. I mean, they're still very insular, but there seems to be. It's just not the same nasty little place that it used to be. It's still nasty and little.
Now
but
it's
just not
slightly less nasty.
It still is just as little. But they're hoping that the library can serve as a community center that's not tied to the FLDS church.
Wow, okay.
And that people will be able to go do something that Warren Jeffs didn't like much at all, which is learning about the outside world.
Right, yeah. It does seem like that's the bugaboo part of the whole thing.
Right. I mean, did you ever see what was it, Sons of Perdition?
The film? No, I never saw that one.
I think that was the one. I think that's the one I'm thinking of, where the young, like 14, 15-year-old kids, the boys who had been kicked out of the compound, they like didn't know who the president of the United States was.
Right.
And they had like no clue about anything
right.
in the outside world. And so, I mean, this is a community that if any place could handle a library, this is definitely one. I hope it succeeds.
Yeah. We should like donate a whole bunch of
atheist books.
I think
that's a great idea.
Sneaky books.
Sneaky books?
Well, like books that, like books about getting out of cults, books about just
I would even just vote for I think these kids just getting some good American literature in their hands.
Yeah, exactly. Get Mark Twain in there.
Exactly. That's what they need.
Yeah.
They need some beauty and some hope and some inspiration and that's not what their community has given them.
Indeed. Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah.
That's what century do we live in again? Can anyone remind me? Because you start to read about this. This isn't Little House on the Prairie, but it kind of seems like it is.
Oh, I bet they're big fans. Before they ripped out all the TVs, they loved that show.
They still dress like it. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to take us over to London town. It's a beautiful season is approaching, Frank. A season of joy, a season that millions are looking forward to.
Christmas?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Christmas shopping season?
I'm talking about the new Star Wars movie, which will be coming out shortly, and lots of folks very excited about it. One group that may not be as excited as they were.
No.
The Church of England.
Why not?
The Church of England apparently produced an ad.
Okay.
That was a 60-second ad which shows a whole bunch of Christians saying the Lord's Prayer. Like, it's got, like, a cop, and it's got a weightlifter and school children each taking one line of the Lord's Prayer.
Oh, wow.
And they were going to show this ad before, sort of as one of the things before The Force Awakens.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of all of the major English film movie theater conglomerates said, no. No, we're not going to play that.
What?
So,
that's rude.
Yes, no, they.
It's just the Church of England trying to put out something nice.
Yeah.
Put everybody in the mood.
The director of communications for the C of E, Reverend Arun Arora, which sounds like a character in Star Wars more than it does a real person, said, "We are bewildered by the decision of the cinemas. The Lord's Prayer is prayed by billions of people across the globe every day." And
billions?
Billions, he says.
Every day?
Every day.
I think that's an exaggeration.
And in this country has been part of everyday life for centuries.
Which one's the Lord's Prayer?
That one would be...
Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest. Is that the...
It's not our Father. It's our Father. Come on now.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done. On earth as it is in heaven.
Yeah. We know it pretty good for a couple Mormon boys.
Yeah, because that's not part of the Mormon experience.
No, not at all. There's only like 3 set prayers in all of Mormonism.
Right.
So anyway, and none of them are the Lord's Prayer.
No.
Yes. So there you go. Those of you who are watching that movie in England will be spared that little piece of tripe.
Well, I certainly hope that they still get to play it in front of it here in the United States.
Well, one would hope. One would hope. But the C of E isn't going to be doing much advertising here in the U.S., I don't think.
Well, they should.
They ought to.
They might get some converts.
I just love that they feel like they need to advertise it all.
Why? Why the Lord's Prayer?
You had your chance in England. Come on. You had more than a fair chance in England. And
yeah, the stack was kind of
the deck was
stacked in their favor.
Yeah. If you fucked it up, you have only yourself to blame. But it's too late to advertise now.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Anyway, is that it? Is that all of our stories?
I did my 3.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, if you have anything you'd like to say about any of these stories, these or any story, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 444.
No, it isn't.
No. 424.
Yeah.
666-8442.
Wow, you've been gone for a while. You've been gone for a bit. Go to the Facebook page, kids, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And also on Facebook, you can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join.
Yeah.
We would love it.
Fun stuff.
And look me up on Snapchat, why don't you?
Yeah, get with Frank on Snapchat.
I'm not promising anything.
Snap directly at his chat.
Promising a good goddamn thing on Snapchat.
Anywho,
every once in a while I post something.
You could look him up. It'll happen. So what are we going to hear? We're going to hear Patrick Robertson.
Jr.
It's a genuine Patty break. We haven't had some Pat for a minute.
Oh, no.
So that's good. He surprised both Frank and me. So we'll just take a listen and see what he has to say.
Folks, you and I are so blessed. And, you know, the Bible talks about neither were they thankful. Pride, the Bible says, idleness and abundance of bread, neither were they thankful. That was the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah. He didn't talk about homosexuality. He said, pride and abundance of bread and idleness. And they weren't thankful.
I think he's been listening to this podcast.
Yeah. That's so weird.
He's an odd duck.
We've
made that point before.
Yeah, I think that because he has said Sodom and Gomorrah and homosexuality. Like he's used that shit.
He's a big fan of that shit.
But no,
when it serves him.
When it serves him.
Yeah.
But apparently the real sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was too much bread.
I had never heard that one before.
If you have too much bread, fuck you.
Well, you get prideful.
God will destroy your whole city if you've got too much.
Ungrateful.
Yeah.
Too much bread?
What? How much? Hang on. How much bread do you guys have?
Sounds like my house almost all the time. Just too much bread.
It's carbs. The sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was carbs.
No, my problem is I can't eat a loaf of bread quickly enough.
Oh, I know, and then it gets moldy.
I know.
It's sin.
I mean, I could physically eat it before it molds, but I don't.
You technically have all of the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah, I feel.
Too much bread.
You're kind of prideful on time, definitely. And
oh, thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
And also, the homosexuality thing.
Yes.
There is that.
I like to just mix them all up and do them all at the same time.
Yeah. And the
just
Lord
be a prideful, bread-eating homosexual.
And the Lord still hasn't destroyed your house. I don't get it.
No, well, I have Mormons living above me. So
it's a protective layer.
It's a Mormon shield
of Mormons blocking.
So his bolts of lightning,
God's wrath.
He couldn't possibly destroy me any other way.
Right. No, he's just like pew pew
Fire
pew
and
pew,
brimstone.
and you're like, you can't get me.
Priesthood holder upstairs.
Pling pling. Just bounces right off. It's amazing. Oh, well, we had some folks write into us.
We did indeed.
And call into us. We've been voicemail free for the past 3 weeks because you're the one that does the voicemails, and I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I have the app on my phone, which makes it easier.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll start us off with an email. I think. So this is Mike writing in. He says, just listened to the podcast and got to the point where you're talking about Sam Harris and purity testing. So to catch people up, a couple weeks ago, Mark and I talked about the concept of a purity test in whatever in-group you're in. And the fact that, like, if you're not in... The fact that, you know, there's so many people who, like, you're not liberal enough to be one of us, or you're not atheist enough to be one of us, or, you know, if you're in this liberal group but you think differently in this way, then you're not good enough, or if you're this kind of conservative but you don't believe
Republicans in name only.
That's right, the rhinos, or whatever. Anyway, we talked about all that stuff.
Okay.
Sam Harris came up because a lot of people like to disavow him. A lot of people in the atheist community like to disavow him because they think he's racist and all sorts of things.
He's not. He didn't pass the purity test.
Right, indeed. So let's see. Mike goes on. I have talked to numerous liberals who have made horrific accusations against Sam Harris, calling him a racist and Islamophobic, to wanting to nuke all of Islam. The latest was a woman who called Harris a fascist, Islamophobic, that wants to bomb all Muslim countries. When I asked for quotes to support this, she pointed me to a Glenn Greenwald article and other articles written by his critics, but nothing supporting her outrageous comments. His article is almost nothing but cherry-picking and quote mining, which he specifically says that he doesn't do in the article, but is almost entirely such. Anyway, when I asked her if she had actually read Sam Harris's work, she refused to answer. There is, as far as I know, nobody that I agree with 100%. I don't dump people who have different opinions. I do dump people who are unethical, people who make accusations without being able to back them, and worse, without ever actually having looked to see if they are right. I've started to make a habit when I write about things I just know, in quotation marks, to research these facts. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not, and I find that I've long been mistaken, and what someone said was not true, but simply someone's unfounded assertion that I read and assimilated. So I just wanted to, this was a bit of a long email, so I won't read the whole thing, but I just thought that was a very nice thing to point out, is that, you know, you kind of need to know what you're talking about. And we've gotten to a point in our society where, I mean, we've got presidential candidates who are totally willing to talk without knowing, without being informed about what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So
that's the purity test for their party.
Well, for their party, well, oh my gosh. Getting a little partisan up in here. Yeah. Do you want to do a voicemail or?
Yeah, let's start with. Someone. This person did not really identify themselves,
but they had something to say.
They had something to say, so I'm going to go ahead and play that one first.
Is it bad that I get a sick, twisted, wonderful feeling of walking past the Salvation Army bell ringer and nodding at him while I'm listening to your wonderful atheist podcast?
No.
No, answer is no. That's not bad. That's fun. You know awesome. What? I'm going to make our annual bell ringer reminder to all of our listeners.
Oh, this is important.
That those guys are that is a Christian organization, and you're giving to a church. You're not giving to a charity.
The Salvation. Hear that word? Might be the first time you've actually listened to that word in a while. Salvation Army.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't give to a church. If you want to give this season, I suggest that you don't give to the bell ringers, but find a good organization that you know isn't just going to keep it for Jesus.
Yeah.
That's your Salvation Army hint of the day. Matt wrote into us. He said, and I love this. He says, in case you haven't seen it, I've been hospitalized for a couple of days and appealed to the other members of the Members Only Lounge for entertainment. Not only did they come through in that respect, but 2 members that live in my state immediately volunteered to drive a couple of hours to help me or my family if we needed it.
Oh.
It's hard not belonging to a church in Oklahoma, as it acts as a center for local social networking. I wanted to make sure you were aware of how the TGIA Members Only Lounge stepped up to fill that space. Thanks to everyone who responded to my thread, but in particular thanks to Peggy and Aaron for offering to go the extra mile.
That's amazing.
Isn't that heartwarming?
Oh, that's really sweet.
Isn't that great?
Aww.
Oh, that just tickles me pink.
We need atheists showing up to hospital rooms.
Yeah. Going in and offering some comfort that doesn't involve magic from Jesus.
Huh.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'll read one more real quick.
Okay.
This is from Rabbi Gruber, who came through for us.
Hey, Rabbi Gruber.
Last week, Mark and I were talking about circumcision.
Uh-oh. And you got it wrong.
What I did was I realized that I wasn't sure what the Jewish position on circumcision was. Like if it was cultural or if it was required, if it was strongly recommended.
Okay.
So Rabbi Gruber wrote in, the Torah considers this a fundamental commandment and says that one who is not circumcised is punished by God in a most severe way. Most Jews, even secular ones, to the best of my knowledge, do circumcise their sons. Jewish children are usually named at that time. There is a small movement of Jews who choose not to circumcise. There is a small group of rabbis like me who will conduct naming ceremonies for those who make that choice. Thanks, he says.
Wow.
So thank you, Rabbi Gruber.
Rabbi Gruber.
You are our go-to Jew. We really appreciate your insights on that.
That's great.
All right. Couple
I have
of
2 more voicemails,
and they are strikingly similar to each other. So we decided to play them back to back, and then we'll discuss
and then
all
we'll
of
talk
it.
about them. This is coming up because of the discussion that you guys had, you and Mark, Dan.
Yes.
About trans issues. That's where this first one's coming
and we
from.
are working on some interviews, hopefully regarding trans issues and stuff.
Yeah.
But this
getting some trans people onto the show.
Yeah, but this came up first.
But yeah, here's a caller. Sort of. I mean, you don't have to listen too closely to this to hear him wrestling with where he stands.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank and Dan, and even Mark. I feel like you're part of the dynamic duo at this point. Anyway, this is Richard from Texas, and I'm kind of ashamed to call. There's one issue that's been bothering me, and it has always bothered me, and I've done everything I can to try and help myself from this, but trans people really weird me out, and I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I know there's nothing wrong with them in particular, but they're just... I don't know, man. They're weird. They're not weird. They're normal. They're just people, man. They're trying to live out their lives. But they just freak me out, and I don't know why. And I don't know. I don't feel I can talk with this with my liberal friends. I certainly can't talk with them with my conservative friends because they'll agree with me vociferously, and that's never a good thing. So y'all were the only guys I could come to with this. So if there's something you can do, maybe help. I don't want to be a bigot. I don't mean to be transphobic, but they're so freaky, man. Anyway, good podcast. I enjoy it. I'm sorry to bring up this shit. Later.
Well, don't apologize for bringing it up because I think it's really important that we have this discussion.
Yeah, should we play the other one?
Oh yeah, we said they were going to be back to back,
and then
I just rudely charged in.
You're like, fuck it.
Hello, Dan. My name is Vince. I'm calling from Houston, Texas. But I'm calling because I've been in discussion with a friend of mine trying to discern and understand how people become homosexual, or I'm not sure. I don't want to be offensive. Just trying to understand that because we had a discussion the other day, and most of the people that I talk to think that, at least the friends I talk to, think that individuals become homosexuals because they've been molested or raped or something like that. And that's not my position. And I find it's a very complex issue that we really don't understand. And I don't want to be offensive. I'm just trying to understand. So I would appreciate it. Anyway, wanted to call because there was an opportunity to call and have some insight on this issue. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your podcast. Bye.
Here's what I love about what's happening is that people are, I sympathize. I was raised with some very ugly notions. Mm-hmm. I even had liberal parents, but there was just something about the time period in which I was raised and stuff. And so I was raised, I struggled a lot trying to sort my feelings about my homosexual friends out with my, trying to square that with my Mormon upbringing. Mm-hmm. And, I had beliefs about, like, even as a teenager, I was like, well, Mormonism's wrong, or rather, sorry, homosexuality's wrong. Right. At that time, Mormonism was right. And it's wrong, so they must choose it. It must be a choice, but then I met people who, like,
or something must have gone wrong.
Right.
Which he, I think his name was Vince.
Yeah, the caller was...
Yeah. That he kind of alludes to some of his friends having that theory that something bad must have happened to make someone gay.
And of both of these calls, that's one thing that you're actually qualified to speak to.
Oh, all sorts of shit happened. It was not like my earliest recollections of, if you're a man or a straight man or straight woman, mm-hmm. when you were starting to have feelings about the opposite sex, I was starting to have feelings about the same sex,
right? And
being very confused and not quite, having no sense of like where that was leading,
right?
But
it's innate. The same phenomenon happens in loving households.
Oh yeah,
it happens in abusive households. It happens with men and women who had idyllic childhoods, as well as shitty childhoods.
Yeah,
that we can speak to. The truth is, in terms of why homosexuality occurs, how it occurs, what the mechanism is that makes one straight or gay. There's nobody that knows that.
No.
That has not been figured out yet. There are lots of theories, mm-hmm. but to my knowledge, it just hasn't been sorted.
I haven't heard of anything that seems conclusive.
Right.
Of course, there are a shit ton of theories out there. Quite frankly, where I've landed is I don't fucking care.
Right.
I know myself.
Yeah.
Right. I know that this is who I am, and I know that I'm. I feel sexual attraction to men and not women.
You know who you're attracted to.
All right.
Nobody knows that better than you.
Easy enough.
Right.
Why it makes me sound gay on the phone, I'll never know.
There are some confusing things about it. I think the theme of our answer to both of these questions has to be, it's okay not to get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a straight man. I'm cisgendered, meaning I'm very comfortable in the gender that I was assigned at birth, mm-hmm. And that's how I identify, and that feels right to me.
Right.
So no, I don't get it. Do I get why a person is transgendered? No, it doesn't make any sense in the world in my brain. But so the fuck what?
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Here's the thing, and I think the part of what people struggle with, especially with trans issues, but also to some extent with homosexuality, is that there is a norm, there is a more frequent thing that happens, which is, cisgendered people, heterosexual people. This happens more frequently, so it feels normal and it feels right, and then things that stray from that may feel abnormal or wrong. But they're not. Right. It's just a thing that happens a little less frequently.
Well, and let's kind of go to the first caller a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he's using words like freaky. They freak me out, I think he says.
Yeah.
He's weirded out. I think he says, and I think when you encounter something that's unfamiliar, that's often the natural human response.
A pretty normal response to that.
I don't think there's anything like if you haven't known transgendered people
Right.
In your life, then having that as your response, in my mind, does make a little sense, right?
Yes.
Not to say that you shouldn't try to work through that reaction.
And that's the point.
Right?
The point is that your initial response
is not abnormal.
is fine,
Yeah.
but wrong. Or rather you need to work through it.
Yeah, just work. Yeah.
Because it's unkind not to.
Yeah. Here would be I don't know exactly where you live. I think he referenced Texas, right?
Yes. Both of the callers said Texas. So.
But this is about personal exposure. You want to feel better about the trans community. You need to find a way to expose yourself.
It wouldn't hurt.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know how one goes about doing that, because you don't want to be disingenuous and like seeking out a new friend, and you don't want to like seek out a new friend just because of their identity.
Right.
Right. But at the same time,
but you could also
you volunteered, maybe there are volunteer opportunities, I'm sure, where you could
at an LGBT crisis center or
exactly.
LGBT charity of some sort.
Yeah, where you would find yourself bumping in with people who are different from you.
Yeah.
And that sense of, oh my gosh, would go away with time. Because that's how it's been for me. Yeah. I mean, I'll admit that the first time I encountered a transgender person, I was uncomfortable because I didn't know the rules.
Right.
Right? I didn't know how I was supposed to. I wasn't confident on sort of the gender pronouns issue, and what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to acknowledge? What am I supposed to right? And your head starts, spinning, and and this was as a gay man who had dealt with acceptance issues. Right.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I had to like get good on the issue.
Yeah.
But over time, now I'm to a point where, I mean, it's just,
and you're going to have to deal with things that you don't, with issues that you don't see coming, with issues that you don't expect. And, with a lot of trans people, they don't look like how their gender is supposed to look. They might be a big burly woman.
Yeah.
And that's tricky to work your brain around. Because it's unusual.
Right.
So the fuck what?
Right.
You got to get good with this. I mean, it's on you to go out of your way to. I mean, you don't have to meet a trans person to solve this, because it's also not a trans person or a gay person's job to
no.
to
I hope I
inform
wasn't
you.
Suggesting that was a course of action.
Right. And there may be you may be meeting a trans person who's not comfortable talking about it with you.
Right. Exactly.
And that's their right.
Right.
But that's not so like the part of this has to be, find some stuff online. There's resources online. Expose yourself in other ways. Exposing yourself to a trans person or a gay person doesn't mean you have to meet them.
No, that's
right
true.
off the bat.
That's true.
But humanize these people for yourself, because they're just people. That our caller said that. He caught himself saying they're weird. Oh, they're not weird. They're just normal. They're trying to live their lives.
Right.
That's where you need to be.
Right.
You need to understand that they're dealing with some shit that got dealt to them. They did not choose it.
Right.
Because nobody would choose that.
Right.
Nobody would choose the outcast nature of that position. I have a few trans friends, and believe me, if they didn't have to, like, if that weren't just an acknowledgement of who they actually are, if they were just choosing it,
right,
they would not have chosen it.
Right.
Because who would? It's a hard life. Anyway.
Well, that's an interesting thing, Dan, because I would say as a gay man, that's something that people used to say a lot. about, well, who would choose to be homosexual? I have to tell you at this point, I would choose it.
Okay.
Right? And so I think that's a dicey place to be.
What I'm saying is, like, would you have chosen it before you had lived any of it? I'm saying you had to go through some pretty rough patches to get to the place that you're at now.
No, I know that.
Am I right?
No, I know that. And I would say that, I mean, it's clearly not a choice. So this is kind of a moot point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I don't know. And I don't know how I would have been as a straight man.
Right.
Right. So how can I, I guess how can I really say that? But there's nothing in me that now would have chosen anything different.
Right.
Right. And so to say that somebody would not have chosen it, I'm very happy with me.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what I mean?
I'll accept that from.
I would be a little hesitant to apply that to transgender folks.
Fair enough.
As well.
Fair enough.
So,
that's you're right. That's not
that's
for me to
innate
say
about yourself. I think even if you have a rough time coming to terms with it, you reach a point in your life where, well, you hopefully reach a point in your life where it is the thing that you would have wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's just who you are. I mean,
Right.
you're just accepting yourself as who you are.
Yeah,
So.
you're absolutely right on that. And I think so. To sort of wrap this conversation up until we can actually get some
Oh,
trans
sure.
voices
This wasn't
on this.
This
isn't our trans conversation. But I do want to say that, like,
wait, got away from us for a second.
that's okay. But I want to be clear that, like, we need, one of the things that both of our callers can do is accept that you're never going to fully understand this. You don't have to understand it.
Yeah.
It's okay not to know the whys. It's all you have to do is just accept the humanity of the person.
And I would say, watch some media, watch some TV shows, watch some videos on YouTube. You can get to know people through media as well.
That's true.
And I think that was one of the great successes of the gay rights movement was the amount, the barrage of gay characters that started to happen on television and films back in the mid 90s.
And trans characters are starting to happen as well.
To see trans characters.
It's the same as sort of the trajectory tends to be that you get sort of extreme versions of these things.
Sure.
And then it normalizes some, and then you'll have a character that's just a character in a show, and it's not about them being trans or whatever.
Right. But right now, just seeing people in human stories living their lives.
Yeah.
There's actually some really one really kick-ass documentary comes to mind. Southern Comfort. Great documentary.
About liquor.
No, about the Southern Comfort Conference, which was held in Atlanta. I don't know if they do it anymore. They probably do. But it's a trans conference.
Oh, wow.
And it's a truly powerful documentary. And it's one that, again, that's one great thing about documentary is the way that it can expose you to somebody's life and you can feel their struggle and you can get to know them without having to, do the more awkward things like I suggested earlier of, hey, why don't you just go find a trans person to be your friend?
Right. Yeah.
Where you're just hopefully wouldn't be using the person to just work through your issues.
Right.
But nonetheless, all right, I digress.
All right. Well,
I need to thank some people.
Let's get some thanks out. It was Thanksgiving just yesterday for us. So let's do some Thanksgiving because we neglected it for a couple weeks.
Well, and you don't have access, I think, at this point, which is my error. But nonetheless, on Patreon.
Yes.
These are the new patrons on Patreon.
The new patrons on Patreon. Okay.
All right. Brian, Ron, Todd. This is two people. Barton Sanja.
Okay.
George E. Period.
Okay.
I don't know who. Anyway. No, just E.
Okay.
Jillian, J. Deity Free. Goober. Sierra. Robbie. Hugh. Alan. PJM. Alan. Aram. Brian and Justin.
You guys, thank you so much for your patronage.
Thank you so much.
It's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
We're actually, I think, we've met our first milestone.
Well, I don't think so.
Oh, no?
We might have had somebody drop out. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But
so we're
if
getting...
we were over it, we dropped a little bit. Because we're at 190 an episode right now, right?
Right, yeah. We're at 190. Our first milestone is 200 an episode. So hopefully we can get to that. You know, if you guys enjoy this show and you've never contributed, now's a great time. Tis the season. If you wanna give us a gift for Christmas time, go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the link to our Patreon page.
Yeah.
Or if you're already a Patreon person, you can go to patreon.com/TGIAtheist.
Yeah.
And you can help us out.
Yeah, and it is truly amazing to have your support.
Yeah.
And we do appreciate it. It makes doing the show easier, and being able to pay for things
a lot easier.
Awesome.
Yeah. Being able to pay for things is nice. All right. Speaking of giving of gifts,
Yes.
I feel like you and I were talking earlier today, and we were thinking it would be time to do a Christmassy type subject.
Yeah, but we've kind of run the gamut, haven't
Yeah,
we?
we
We've exhausted the topic through the years.
We've talked about the war on Christmas, which Fox doesn't seem to be waging this year. Maybe because it's an election thing or something.
They were the ones waging the war on Christmas?
Oh, they were defending. They were
okay.
on Christmas's side.
Well, maybe they won.
But
Did
they won. They won. Hooray.
They successfully defended Christmas?
Yes, indeed. Which should be a show, right? A Lifetime movie or something. We successfully defended Christmas.
The Bill O'Reilly story?
Yes, indeed. So here's what we landed on. Presents.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to take for granted, ladies and gentlemen, that we celebrate Christmas.
Here's what I will take for granted.
Okay.
That we celebrate something this season where gifts are exchanged.
Yeah, most of us, I would say most of our listeners, most folks that I know, even atheists, have something. They either have a connection to Christmas that they hold on to because they like the season and they like doing it, or they have Hanukkah, or they have something that there's a gift-giving thing that happens.
Right.
And today's Black Friday, where everybody goes out and
buys themselves a gift.
Buys themselves tons of gifts, and then like right at the end, after they've gotten all of the stuff that they want, they go, "Oh, you know what I should do is look for something for Joe," or something like that.
Right. Anyway,
so let's talk a little bit about gift giving because I've been struggling with it. I want to. Yeah. Here's the thing. In my world, Andrea and I don't give each other gifts at all.
Ever.
Almost never. I mean, when we see something that we think the other person would like, we just get it for them. But we don't give gifts on birthdays. We don't give gifts on Christmas. We just don't do that.
So sad.
It's really not. It's delightful.
If you don't like giving gifts, I guess that sounds idyllic.
It's not that I don't like giving gifts, but here's what I don't like. There's this thing that happens when there's a time that you have to give a gift where you don't necessarily know, like I have nothing.
You're telling me that Andrea is a hard person to shop for?
Yes.
No.
Because she has all the things. What the fuck does that
She's
girl
very
need?
clear about the kinds of things that she likes, though.
Yes.
And so the problem with gift giving is when the person that you're trying to shop for just doesn't have interests.
Yeah, but
beyond, I don't know, right?
Here's the thing. She's easy to know what not to get her. But what do you get her? She's like, if she sees something that she wants, she just buys it. And that's not me saying that she's like some mega shopper or something. But first of all, no one would deign to buy that girl clothes because she has very, very, like she has.
I've seen you buy her clothes.
Well, yeah, but not much, because I mean, she's just super advanced in fashion, and I would not dream to be able to like.
I bet there are any number of gift cards that you could give.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it? Like, that's the fallback, is that you could just do a gift card, but then it doesn't have that feeling of, like, I went out and found something for you.
I know.
And Andrea's not used to that anyway, because her family doesn't do the I went out and, like, tried to get something for you with you in mind. What they do is, what do you want? Oh, you want that? And everybody provides everybody with a sort of a list of things that they want in their lives. And it makes it, I guess, easier, but then nothing feels special to me.
Right.
In that family.
Right.
It's nice. Thank you for buying me this thing that I wanted.
Right.
I mean, that's nice of you to have expended the money.
I could have also just bought it myself.
Right.
I could have saved the money buying that person over there the thing that they wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
And just bought this thing that I wanted.
You did my shopping for me, and I did her shopping for her, and he did his shopping for him.
But it was in a box with some wrapping paper and a bow.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody sat around and watched everybody open up stuff that they wanted.
And I struggle with it. I struggle with it because, on the one hand, that's nice. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to, because Lord knows I've gotten some stupid presents. And I've given some really stupid presents.
Yeah, we all have.
Like, for instance, you and I, I thought it would be funny if we said some of the stupid presents that we've both given and received.
Oh, it was supposed to be things that we've given as well?
Well, I added one to the list.
You just threw that at me, Dan.
Well, okay, you don't have to have one. Nobody would be mad, but I have one that I've given. I was a teenager at the time, so I was dumb.
Right.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Probably the worst gifting experience I've ever had was me giving something and then being horribly embarrassed about it. Oh. Because I just went to the mall and I was like buying stuff for my family and I had no idea what to get my grandmother.
Okay.
Like I have no idea what to get this woman. I loved her dearly.
Right.
But I didn't know like what things she wanted.
Right.
Or liked.
Okay.
I knew she ate food.
Uh-oh.
So I was at the Hickory Farms thing, and I was intrigued. This is so nasty.
What did you do?
I bought her a chocolate cheese ball. What the fuck is that? What was I doing? I bought the woman something that no human being could possibly enjoy.
Well, somebody at Hickory Farms enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I thought it sounded good enough to me, so
cheese is good, chocolate's good. Boy, the two of them together must be amazing.
Must be. So that's my big embarrassing, like, what the hell? And she, of course, was gracious about it because you're gracious when you get a present, but oh my God. And you know what? It kind of serves her right because she got me. No, it doesn't serve her right. She was the sweetest, most delightful human. But every Christmas, she would bring us. She wanted us to have lots of presents.
Yeah.
And she would just load under our tree because we were her only grandkids, me and my sister.
Okay.
And she would just load it up with presents, just a dozen each.
Okay.
But they were like a pan. Or a book that she already owned that she's giving to us now. She knows I'm not a reader, at that time or whatever, but she'd give these things to us. It was just like, it was more about the quantity than the quality. And there's something to that. Like with kids, there's something about that. But
not really. I came to that conclusion. I was probably... how old was I? Probably about 14.
Yeah.
That quantity ain't good.
It's not enough.
No.
It's not what you're looking for.
No, there was this one year where when I was younger, my dad had always had this series of jobs that he did okay for himself.
Sure.
Nothing spectacular, but he did okay.
Sure.
And we'd have nice holidays. Meaning I got lots of gifts.
Right.
Right. And there was this one year where we had just moved and money was tight. And there was sort of this, they felt like because I was the last one at home, right? And they felt that I was old enough that they could approach me with this idea of, we've always exchanged gifts, but this year, why don't we just celebrate Christmas?
Huh.
And I was all on board with that. I knew what was going on,
Sure.
you know, and I knew where this was coming from. And I liked Christmas.
Yeah.
As even just a season.
Sure.
Right. And so I was like, fine, great. They couldn't follow through with that.
No. Oh, that's cute.
And so no.
Oh, wait, they couldn't. I thought
They couldn't bring themselves to have a Christmas morning where there weren't gifts.
Right.
And so they went and just got crap.
Oh, but it's
And
still
collected
cute.
up crap.
But it's cute that they wanted to give you something.
I don't know.
But you didn't appreciate. I mean, it wasn't good.
All it did was like because if they'd gotten cheap stuff, but it was at least stuff that I was like reflected an interest. It literally was they were just rounding up whatever they could.
Yeah.
And I just kind of stepped back, and I didn't want to be ungrateful or whatever, but it made it awful.
Oh, that's sad.
You know what I mean? Like it was truly a terrible Christmas.
Yeah.
Because the thing that I had sort of
Prepped for, they
felt they couldn't do at the end
Yeah.
of the day. And so I was like, oh, all right, well, cool. And, you know, and then it was just like, what are you doing? You know, and maybe that seems a little, I don't know, like, you're right. I probably should have been a little more understanding of their situation, but I was also 14 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and like, just don't, like, I remember walking away from it just being like, why did you bother?
Right.
Like, what was this? You kind of betrayed what you wanted to do in the first place. And so it sucked.
That's so weird.
Because all it did was just ring home the fact that we were having a rough year.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And instead of just celebrating,
Instead of just
they just gave
leaving
me,
the beauty of the thing itself.
They gave me 10 reminders of what a bad year it was. Right? And so it was strangely very insensitive.
That is
Even though
weird.
they were trying to still have a Christmas, but they made it be that Christmas was just the gifts in their
and
mind.
this is the problem, right? This is what part of what we're trying to get at is this notion that the gifts, if the gifts are the thing, which Lord knows Black Friday makes it feel like the gifts are the thing.
Right.
I don't know, man. I struggle with it. I struggle with, like, I don't care about stuff.
Right.
People, what is somebody going to give me short of, you know, like a new car or something
Right.
that's gonna be important in my life? Nothing. You can't give me something. So what's important is the gesture, and I get that, and I love that part of it. There's something beautiful about the gesture of a thing,
Right.
but the thing itself, trust me, I got all the things I need. I got more things than I could possibly need in my life. I'm trying to divest myself of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I mean, but then again, the gesture, the thing can take on meaning.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the gesture.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, another year, actually just a couple years after that, my older brother was living with us, and you know, he moved out when I was like 7, so we really didn't know each other all that well.
Uh-huh.
And so I was probably, I can't remember, like 15 or 16 at this point.
Right.
And seriously, like, it was just this really silly thing where we were watching TV, some ad for some store up in Tulsa came on.
Right.
And I probably said, oh, it looks like a cool store, right when there was a shot of a lava lamp on the TV, right?
Okay.
And so, like, seriously, like 2 months later, it was Christmas, and my brother gave me this lava lamp because he had been paying attention, and it wasn't really even anything that I really wanted or
Right.
desired, but like it was so immediate that I knew exactly where he'd gotten the idea, and I was like, wow, he's really paying attention. He's really trying to get to know me, right? Because we were getting to know each other as older. Like, he was an adult and I was in my teens.
Yeah.
And so it really meant a lot, you know, and I carried that thing around for a long time until it broke.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the beauty, right? That right there is the nugget that the gift giving thing is all about.
Yeah.
So
because the thing itself wasn't important.
No,
it was the fact that he thought about me.
It's
and
so funny to me. I look at my childhood, and my parents were not awesome at gift giving. They got it right a few times, and then as a kid, like, it's so important to have the right thing or whatever. And so the year that I asked for Transformers, and all of my buddies got all of the Transformers, they all got like 10 or whatever,
right? And
I got a GoBot, which are like the rip-off, like, smaller, sadder versions of Transformers. And my folks were they were trying.
Yeah.
They just didn't understand what it was, what the whole thing was, and the fact that it was important that they were the brand that they were supposed to be, even though those are the more expensive ones and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But, I mean, it's so funny to me that, like, this gesture that they went out of their way to find this thing, they gave it to me, and it was such a disappointment. It was like, you put on the brave face for mom and dad, but in your heart, you know that you've just been dealt, like, the worst thing ever. You've been given something so shitty. Oh, why?
Yeah, I know. Gifts are really, really, really weird. They're
tough.
really weird. And I mean, as an adult, it's funny how much I run to the defense of gifts. I feel like I've had a couple really nice, like, gift giving experiences, and then I don't think I'm an exceptional gift giver, right? And so I don't find a lot of joy in it, because I'm always wrestling with the thing that you're talking about, which is, what the fuck am I going to get this person?
Right.
Even though it may be somebody that I love dearly and know very well, right? But
but we're adults.
Fuck,
we don't need things.
But I've had enough really just, like, shitty experiences with people, like, giving something that I look at the gift and I look at them and I go, do you know me?
Yeah.
And it almost feels like there's some weird moment where that gift betrayed that person. Right. And it hurts in this weird way. And I've become so sensitive to it that really, I don't usually enjoy the whole thing of gifts. And now, except sometimes I think I've gotten over it by and large, but, like, people will come along and all of a sudden there's some great surprise gift. And it's like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. How did you pick up on that being something that I would even want?
Yeah. Like, there are those moments where somebody's just like, they've locked in, they've figured it out, and they got, it's like divine intervention. Something magical has happened.
Yeah.
But that happens how often?
I don't know.
Once every 200 gifts that are given or whatever?
I mean, at this point, people should just be, like, wrapping up, I don't know, salami and cookies.
Yeah.
And I would be delighted.
Yeah.
Open up a box and there's some criminelli sausage in there. I'd just be like, oh my God.
You get me. You get me. It's so true. Like, when I think about my best gift experiences, half of them are things like, it was one of those shitty party games where everybody steals, everybody brings a white elephant, and you can get one and unwrap it, or you can steal the one from that guy who has the coveted thing. And I was the only one who actually wanted the thing that nobody else wanted. So I'm like, yay, a Rubik's Cube. I've always wanted one of these. Or whatever, like, it's...
And it was a white elephant.
Yeah.
It's because nobody else in the room wanted it.
I know. So half of my best experiences are just wanting the thing that nobody else, that I'm the only one nerdy enough to want.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I went to a I remember distinctly a corporate event that I used to work for a telecommunications company, and they had the big regional meeting where everybody from all of the different stores came, and we all, and they're giving away things, and if your name is called, you get to pick which prize you want. And one of the prizes that everyone kept passing over was the only one I wanted, and I was just like, nobody take it, nobody take it, nobody take it. And everybody else is like gunning for the video game or whatever.
Right.
And they had a DVD of The Incredibles, the Pixar movie.
Okay.
I wanted it so bad, and then I got it. Like, those are the best moments for me in terms of gift. Some of the
Those
best
aren't
moments.
gift giving. That's not.
I know.
That's
this is
you seeing a thing on a shelf and just wanting it.
That's my problem. This isn't. I'm kind of opposed to gift giving.
Oh, Dan,
I'm not opposed to giving of gifts. I'm opposed to like mandatory, like go out and find something for
it's
everyone.
Christmas, so you have to give me something.
Right? Exactly.
What are you going to give me?
Whether you have anything good thought up or not, whether something has occurred to you or not, tough shit. You got to find something.
Right.
Good luck.
I will say this, Dan.
Yeah.
I hear. I understand what your aversion to this would be, but if you're ever in a situation where you have to buy someone a gift,
Yeah.
just fucking ask them.
But I hate that. That's part of the problem. Okay, so now we have to get into Andrea's family, where everybody does this thing. So because not everybody in the family has a lot of money,
Right.
Which is, I mean, everybody's doing fine, but we don't want to buy gifts for everybody.
Right.
All the siblings or whatever.
Right.
So all the adult siblings. Draw a name, all the names go in the hat. Everybody draws one name. You've got one person to buy a gift for.
And this is like there's one that says mom, there's one that says dad, there's
No,
one
mom and dad are not part of this. It's just the siblings. So it's just Andrea and all of her sisters and all of their husbands.
Oh, that's different than I thought. Okay.
So we all just draw, and then that's who you get your present for.
Okay.
So we do that, except that
And this is really common. This is what larger families with,
and that's not what I have an objection to. But then what happens is that once everybody gets their name, they go and ask the person, "So what do you want?"
Right.
And of course, there's a money cap on it, so that one person doesn't buy a $1,000 gift and then everybody else gets like a $10 gift or whatever.
I hate the money cap thing. I just have to say it
I do
because
too.
in my family, the year that we did it when my grandmother was involved, we were all like, no money cap, because whoever she draws is gonna score.
But then everybody else will feel bad.
No, why?
I know.
Because if your little niece draws your name, right, and she gets you something for $15, it's awesome. Your niece just gave you something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not even cool.
Right.
But your niece just gave you something.
A chocolate
Really?
cheese ball.
You were so in need of an awesome gift.
Well, no,
that you're going to be bummed out because so-and-so got, a gift from grandma.
No, I don't think that's what it's about. I think what it's about is I'm going to feel so shitty because I can't get a good gift like that. I can't afford a good gift like that. And I'm going to feel pressure now next year to pay more so that the person that I'm buying for doesn't feel bad. Or so
the person getting the gift doesn't feel bad.
Right, I know, but it's about the giver feeling like they're not living up to something.
Make something by hand. Those are the best gifts.
Yeah, well, who has time for that when you've got 1,000 children running around? Anyway, the point for me is that none of this works. So here's what I'm asking you, Frank. Here's how I'm wrapping up this segment.
All right.
What's the solution?
Well,
should we give gifts at Christmas time? Should we wait until
that is up to everybody. I'm not going to get all preachy about it, but personally, I don't need gifts.
Yeah.
It's nice. I have to say, sometimes it's really nice, especially if the person is cute in.
Yeah.
Because, surprises, a surprise new thing, something that you've been wanting, but it's just kind of been on your list and you have other priorities at the moment. You know what I mean? That's kind of nice. You get something frivolous. That's where I enjoy gifts a lot of times, is when it's not something that the person thinks you need. It's just something that the person thinks that you'll find fun.
Right.
And entertaining.
That you probably wouldn't ever get for yourself.
You wouldn't buy for yourself. Because it's frivolous. It's nothing that's important or needed.
Right.
And those are often the things that I've always found the most enjoyable.
I'm buying you a snow cone machine.
Fuck yeah, please do. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Yes,
be
I'm kidding you.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy you one of those.
Dan, now you have to.
They're too expensive.
How expensive are they?
I have no idea.
They can't be that much.
I'm buying you...
It shaves some ice.
Yeah.
It's a little ice shaver. You get a block, you put it in there, it shaves ice, and then you go out and you buy the syrup.
Pretty sure there
How
was
expensive could
there was
that
like
be?
a Snoopy version when we were kids.
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
remember that.
talking about, yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Maybe you guys can help us out with this. There's still time till Christmas, so why don't you send us in your take on how to do presents? What's the right way to do presents? Is there a right way? Should we abandon it entirely and be Grinchy?
Or just enjoy the season.
Or just enjoy the
Rather-
season?
Yeah.
And don't ruin it like Frank's dumb parents did.
Well, they didn't mean to ruin it, but they just did.
I know. Anyway, you can write to us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah. In the meantime, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Or also on Facebook, you can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Yeah, that's a closed group. You don't get in right away. You
No.
got to wait for me to let you in.
Just be patient, people.
Hey, thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of the music that we like to use so much every week.
And thanks, of course, to Mackenzie for all of her help on Facebook.
Right. Thanks again, I want to say to our Patreon patrons. It's just amazing. We really appreciate your support for our show. And if you want to become a Patreon supporter, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the Patreon link on the side of the page.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yeah, we sure do appreciate you.
Bye.